Hey guys, and welcome to the Working Money Channel. So as we've been seeing excitement in the market with regards to Ripple and XRP, and the entire crypto space really, because everybody is benefiting from this, we've also seen ancillary companies like Coinbase leading crypto stock gains. Now this was coming out yesterday on Friday. And even if we just take a quick look at Coinbase stock here on the daily, you guys can see this inverted head and shoulders pattern is now breaking up and moving to the upside. So a huge day there for Coinbase. It was already moving up, but Coinbase also seeing a victory. In the video I did yesterday, I talked a little bit about these crypto exchanges in the US relisting XRP. If you guys didn't catch that one, I'll link it up here in the top right-hand corner. And so Coinbase is one of those cryptocurrency exchanges. And obviously, they're benefiting stock-wise. Their stock has gone up. They saw a surge of nearly 25% on Thursday, the day we got the Ripple SEC news, ahead of other cryptocurrency and blockchain-related companies following a landmark legal victory in a closely watched lawsuit involving blockchain company Ripple Labs, Inc. A U.S. district judge ruled on Thursday that Ripple Labs did not violate federal securities laws by selling XRP. And of course, guys, we saw XRP surging as well on Thursday. Of course, too, we got to remember that Coinbase, which is also embroiled in litigation with the SEC over its trading of crypto tokens, surged 24%. But, unfortunately, they are still in court with the SEC. So, a lot of lawsuits happening right now. Gary Gensler really does think he's king, doesn't he? XRP Crypto Wolf posting this. SEC letter claims that Coinbase was aware of securities laws violations. So just on that news with regards to Coinbase and the SEC recently sent a letter to the district judge where it claimed that Coinbase was already aware of the fact that its operations might violate securities laws. The letter goes on to claim that the company had informed its shareholders about the possibility of assets being traded on the platform without being considered securities. However, the flaw in this logic is that Coinbase most likely did this because it knew that regulations within the US were not clear and were highly subjective to the SEC's interpretation. Any crypto company would have likely done the same thing after seeing the lawsuit that the SEC brought upon Ripple, where it claimed that XRP was a security. Therefore, it is more accurate to say that Coinbase knew that there was a risk that the SEC might accuse it of the same thing instead of the company being aware of violations. So that is the most recent news when it comes to Coinbase in the SEC. According to the letter, so this letter was from July 7th, so about a week ago, Coinbase had knowledge of the possibility that federal securities laws would apply to its operations, openly informing its shareholders about the possibility of assets traded on the platform being classified as securities. And here's a quote, guys. Since becoming a public company, Coinbase has repeatedly informed its shareholders of the risk that the crypto assets traded on its platform could be deemed as securities, and therefore that its conduct could violate the federal securities laws. So I guess after delisting XRP, Coinbase realized, okay, well, we can't just delist everything under the sun. So we're just going to put out a disclaimer to our investors saying, hey, we might be trading stuff that is not legal, but, do as you will. Invest at your own risk kind of thing. Coinbase gave many reasons in the past why this new allegation from the SEC did not make sense, such as the fact that Coinbase had already gone public for multiple years. So, that's the other thing too, right? Why would the SEC allow Coinbase to go public if they knew this? The SEC is really just making crypto laws more muddy than they need to be. They're not clarifying anything. At least I could say there was a period of time where they really were just trying to muddy the waters and make it as opaque as possible so that they could, I guess, buy themselves time. I mean, I'm still trying to wonder why. I think everybody was behind the ball. I feel like other countries, though, have really just gotten under it and realized, okay, this is what we have to do. And so many countries are already regulated. Why is it that the US has to be dragging their feet? Anyway, I will link this article, though, in the description of the video if you guys want to read further. Wanted to thank XRP Crypto Wolf for posting that. Michael Branch also mentioning this, okay, with regards to Congressman Richie Torres. Any relation to Judge Annalisa Torres, Richie? I'll tell you why. Congressman Torres calls for an investigation into the SEC over its approach to crypto. Good on you, brother. Congressman Richie Torres has asked for two separate independent investigations of the SEC for its haphazard and heavy-handed approach to digital assets, according to two letters made public on Thursday. So Torres requested investigations into the SEC granting a special purpose broker-dealer license to Prometheum. And now we're starting to see interesting connections. I know the XRP community has kind of pivoted to this, whole Prometheum story. First, it was ETHgate, which I think we've uncovered, quite a bit at this point. Now it's Prometheum, the connections to China, and I mean, that's a whole other ball of wax. A trading digital asset platform that does not trade digital assets under unusual circumstances, and for its failure to create a rigorous but workable process for registering real-world digital asset platforms. The dubious decision, here's a quote, the dubious decision to license a deceptive digital assets platform reflects the latest attempt by Gary Gensler to politicize the registration process to the extent seldom seen in the SEC's history, Torres wrote. When it comes to trading platforms that operate in the real world, the SEC's path to registration remains a bridge to nowhere. Torres addressed one letter to the SEC's Inspector General, Deborah Jeffrey, and another one to the Government Accountability's Office Comptroller General Gene Dordaro. Torres called the SEC an overzealous traffic agent who arbitrarily tickets drivers for speeding while keeping everyone endlessly guessing about the speeding limit. What a great analogy. Amazing analogy there from Richie Torres. Possibly a relation to Judge Annalisa Torres? Probably not. I know Torres is a very common name. I know. I'm just trying to have some fun here on Saturday. Anyway, interesting. I really do wonder how this is all going to transpire for the SEC. I mean, they lost a pivotal case, and now they've gone back, licking their wounds, and I guess they're going to continue forging ahead. But the crypto industry is getting stronger and stronger by the day. So many supporters. And we've seen investor confidence really kind of spark up as well. So interesting news there. Wanted to thank Michael for posting that. Turning to some Ripple partnership news here, guys, and I'm starting to think we're going to see more and more of this happen in the US. Well, this one has to do with long-term partner of Ripple, Flutterwave. They joined the IATA to enable Nigeria and other African countries to pay for flights with local currencies. So Flutterwave, again in the news here, I'm just going to pop that up a little bit just to make that easier on the eyes. Flutterwave, Africa's leading payment technology company, has joined the International Air Transportation Association payment orchestration platform to facilitate travel to sub-Saharan Africa. With this integration, airlines across the world are now able to process payments for customers through cards, bank transfers, mobile money, alternative payment methods, and other payment modes available on Flutterwave. We know Flutterwave is Ripple enabled, so processing payments in different types of African currencies is definitely going to be certainly something that's necessary, and certainly they're making it a lot easier to do this. So it's an omni-channel payment orchestration and management platform fully dedicated to the airline industry and has been designed to allow airlines to receive local payments from local markets through all their distribution channels. IATA has some 290 international airlines, and this partnership enables them to easily expand their operations in Africa while receiving bookings and payments from customers in Africa using local and international payment methods. I always felt like, the travel industry should be really positive and friendly to, RippleNet technology, because they have to deal with payments in all types of currencies all the time. Just the nature of travel means somebody is traveling from perhaps one country to another country, and certainly you are probably not using the same currency unless maybe you're in Europe and you're using the euro. But even there are European countries like Sweden, for example, they're, still using their kroner. In the UK, of course, they still use the Great British Pound. So, a lot of different currencies. Africa's a great example of that because, a lot of those currencies aren't any of the mainstream currencies either. So, leveraging for that liquidity, that's what RippleNet does very well through XRP. And so Flutterwave, again, one of those companies that is benefiting from this, and that is helping their customers really manage payments. Instead of having to manage multiple complex connections to payment service providers in Africa, IFG offers a single global connection. So, exactly what DLT solves for, with full end-to-end control on payment and settlement processes and seamless integration with ticketing systems and distribution channels. And just down here, the Flutterwave CEO and founder, he said, according to the International Air Transport Association, Africa is set to become one of the fastest growing aviation regions in the next 20 years, with an annual expansion of nearly 5%. So Africa, guys, looking to really take off, no pun intended, in terms of expansion when it comes to aviation. How can we further accelerate this growth? Well, one way is to ensure airlines can easily set up operations across the continent and seamlessly receive payments from their customers. This partnership with IATA solves the problem of payments for global airlines venturing into Africa. We hope that this encourages more global airlines to expand into Africa. So I guess that's another issue, right? A lot of the global airlines are not, you're going to pick flights that are going to more of the sought out destinations, the more popular cities. And so I could imagine that only a handful of African cities have, real kind of international consistent flights. But this is also going to democratize travel by extension. And so, in this particular case, we're seeing a Ripple-enabled company, Flutterwave, help the continent of Africa. But I think we could, in fact, see this develop more and more, I don't know, maybe in South America or the Middle East, or even in Eastern Europe. So, the sky really is the limit. Anyway, just thought that was some important news to bring to you guys. Now, we got the Ripple SEC verdict a couple of days ago, and, all things considered, XRP price has been performing quite well. There's another part of this, though, because, we're not out of the woods yet. It's not like a clear-cut win for Ripple, and, some things might be contested. So I wanted to touch on some of that today. James K. Filan posted this a couple of days ago. So this, to me, is the most important part of the decision. Programmatic sales are not securities, as we've talked about over the last couple of days. And because a programmatic buyer stood in the same shoes as a secondary market purchaser, secondary market sales are not investment contracts, so they're not securities. So he's just reiterating that. And here's just the statement from the judge. Having considered the economic reality of programmatic sales, the court concludes that the undisputed record does not establish the third Howey prong. Programmatic buyers could not reasonably expect the same. Indeed, Ripple's programmatic sales were blind bid and ask transactions, as we talked about the other day. Buyers could not have known if their payment of money went to Ripple or any other XRP seller, so that's a good distinction. Since 2017, Ripple's programmatic sales represented less than 1% of the global XRP trading volume. The vast majority of individuals who purchased XRP from digital asset exchanges did not invest their money with Ripple at all. So this is all, standard stuff that we've already known. An institutional buyer knowingly purchased XRP directly from Ripple pursuant to the contract, but the economic reality is that a programmatic buyer stood in the same shoes as a secondary market purchaser who did not know whom he was paying the money to. So very good kind of sum up there. James K. Filan continues. I will link this in the description of the video if you guys are interested. We've gone over a lot of this, so I don't want to really kind of hit it over the head. Some things, though, that people are still questioning, considering this Ripple SEC lawsuit is not completely done yet. The Ripple summary judgment is obviously not the last word on the issue. If Ripple Labs accepts the limited win here, which they won't, they're still turbo screwed, okay? Because they've got multi-billions of dollars in institutional sales that they're on the hook for. So this is coming from Preston Byrne here on Twitter. The summary judgment ruling is a split decision where the judge takes the view that primary sales of tokens are investment contracts and secondary sales and distributions to employees are not. In the precedents we have, the SEC has moved against schemes early enough that secondary sales aren't an issue. So we talked a little bit about the Telegram Kick case the other day. And positively, looking at the silver lining, the Kick token did very well. Went up over 12,000% since they got an SEC verdict. So what does that mean for XRP? Well, I talked about it yesterday. At the end of the day, actual token common law in the United States is still pretty sparse, mainly consisting of a handful of district court level decisions of limited precedential value. This decision raises more questions than it answers. How can a thing be a security in one transaction but not another? UK legal doctrine evolving to answer this. The third thing concept. In the US, it has not. Hopefully Congress will get involved and clear things up soon. The SEC should settle. Ripple's somewhat justified in thinking it has a little wind at its back, but will some of the exchanges currently in litigation with the SEC for listing tokens like XRP? But the decision is too preliminary, in my opinion, he says, to rely on for long-term business planning. I also think that Judge Torres' ruling in the Ripple case is logically not consistent with Judge Castle's ruling in the Telegram case, which, if applies to Ripple, would mandate a different conclusion. So another interesting observation here, another interesting point, another interesting take on this. Brad Mills also commenting, SEC versus Ripple case resolution gives even less clarity, in his opinion, and here's where he sees it. Okay, crypto insider chats I'm in are all interpreting this as good for altcoins, good for exchanges, but he says, I don't think it is good for XRP or altcoins, as the regulators are still negative on tokens and pursuing actions against plenty of major players. So, I mean, if you're invested in XRP, that's one thing. And everybody watching this channel, I can assume 100% of people watching, or at least are consistent viewers of my channel, all hold XRP. So on the one hand, we could be good, but guys, if you're invested in other altcoins, listen up. Tell me what I got wrong. He says, this case was whether or not Ripple and Garlinghouse, etc., committed securities fraud, not whether XRP was a security. Ripple argued that XRP was like a commodity akin to sugar or gold. The judge ruled that argument was missing the point and said the token was not a security just because it was a cryptographic token on a blockchain. That does not say it's not a security either, but rather they were looking at how it was offered. Number 3, the institutional sales were securities. The bulk of XRP transactions, the others, like tokens, grants, and salary payments, were not in this case of whether Ripple Labs committed securities fraud. Number 4, it was stated that this ruling does not mean XRP is or is not a security. Number 5, SEC still holds coins like this are securities, and exchanges need broker-dealer licenses, and pumpers need registration, etc. So listing XRP for sale without a broker-dealer license mean the exchange is breaking securities laws. So he's going into a lot of this other back-end stuff that, still is going to be questioned in the US for sure. Coinbase, etc. are already fighting the SEC regarding these issues for 99% of tokens traded on the platform. So adding XRP back is a political move irrelevant to whether XRP is a security or not. Okay, so this guy, still a little down on, he's not part of the XRP community, so he could care less about one token. When we zoom out, we look broader here. I get his point. I still think, though, as a crypto industry, this is a win. So to that, I think maybe he's lost sight of. Fair use notice argument was thrown out, and how he still stands. Seems kind of like there's even less clarity now as the crypto industry is broadly interpreting it as a win for tokens, even though there was no definitive statement that XRP and other tokens are not securities. Okay, I could see his point. Relisting XRP on the exchanges, I think, is a good first big step. I'm going to even add big step in the right direction because, quite frankly, it could be a lot worse. Now, Leonidass brought this up. Okay, Ripple, according to its quarterly reports, used to have institutional and programmatic sales. So we're going to get into the nitty gritty here a little bit. Programmatic sales stopped in Q4 of 2019, while institutional sales were replaced by ODL related sales. So notice that, according to the summary judgment, are ODL related sales now considered securities? So he's bringing up the conclusion of the judgment here. For the foregoing reasons, the SEC's motion for summary judgment is granted as to the institutional sales and otherwise denied. Defendant's motion for summary judgment is granted as to the programmatic sales and other distribution and Larson's and Garlinghouse's sales, and denied as to institutional sales. So interesting from Leonidass, bringing up the chart here, Ripple's sales and purchases according to quarterly market reports. You guys can peruse this. As you guys know, Ripple did stop their programmatic sales at a point. XR Prometheus here saying can't see how ODL sales could ever be classed as securities as they were for utility. The institutional sales must have predated to an earlier time. And Leonidass just responding, the judge also mentions utility in the ruling. My friend, what happened to you? Why this intolerance from you, says X-Man. It's a big win and you act like you have depression. Let's celebrate, my friend. So being a little critical of Leonidass, however, Leonidass responding, I'm celebrating whilst trying to fully comprehend what's going on and how this affects the future. Leonidass always coming with the responsible angle here. Well, David Schwartz did respond to this, guys, and so this still from Leonidass's tweet thread. David Schwartz did say, and by the way, this is the real David Schwartz. I've been noticing a lot of fake spam accounts over here on Twitter, so just beware of those. We're still figuring this out, he says. We don't currently have ODL-related sales with a U.S. nexus, and not able to do so is not really a huge deal. We can still do ODL in the U.S. so long as XRP is never sourced from Ripple. So it looks as though Ripple has found a workaround for that. However, it is still a point here that Ripple will likely contest in appeal. Ultimately, though, guys, what is the outcome going to be? Is it going to be positive? Is it going to be negative? Something else I wanted to bring up to kind of relieve your mind a little bit. Crypto Insight UK did post this, okay? And we got to remember back to what Brad Garlinghouse said earlier. Crypto Insight UK says, my speculation regarding the remains of the Ripple SEC lawsuit. So we have a verdict on some things, but guys, there's still outcomes that need to be settled. Ripple settles outside of court for the fine significantly less than the proposed $780 million. He goes on to say, let's not forget, Stuart Alderati always said, and I think it was actually Brad Garlinghouse, always said Ripple would be willing to settle if XRP wasn't deemed a security. Remember when they said that there? I had to dig up this article, okay, from Davos 2023. Ripple's CEO is optimistic the crypto firm will get a ruling on XRP soon and slams the embarrassing SEC. Now, remember what Brad Garlinghouse said down here. He said that he expects a ruling to arrive sometime in the coming single-digit months, okay, potentially as soon as June. Well, it took till July, but good prediction there. Again, this was from back in, I think this was, January. So pretty good on the prediction. It added that he doesn't expect the company will settle the case, although he remains open to the prospect. Now, remember the conditions, guys. Here's the quote. We have always said that we would love to settle, but it requires one very important thing. And that is that on a go-forward basis, it's clear that XRP is not a security. And so, considering what we have now as a verdict, maybe Ripple would be willing to settle some of these other portions of the case, and for a significantly lower fee than what was initially intended. $780 million. Wow. That would be huge if they had to pay that out. I mean, after paying $250 million in legal fees for this entire thing. So could this get sorted out? David Schwartz has already said there is a workaround that Ripple is using to sort this out at this moment in time. However, there's still the other issues regarding the Ripple SEC case, but now that we've got clarity on XRP, could it be that we see a settlement for the remainder of the case sometime soon? And I mean, since we have seen such a huge spike of XRP, and it's only been a few days, guys, so I still think the sky's the limit. XRP capped in here bringing this up. If XRP repeats the same fractal of 2017, then guess where it could be by 2024, April 2024. He's saying XRP could be beyond $120 per coin. So what he's doing is just superimposing this fractal pattern on the chart. This same fractal pattern, guys, that we saw from back in 2017, which would in fact bring XRP up to brand new heights, blowing old all-time highs out of the water. Now, I mean, just looking at this fractal, we've already kind of examined, what has been happening on the XRP chart. And, coming out of that Nike swoosh pattern, we are starting the ascension upward. Like I talked about the other day, it took the Kick token about 6 months. Okay, 6 months to get up to all-time high. So if we just line up where, and I'm just going to do this as a very informal glance at XRP price, not saying that this is going to happen by any means, but, if we take that first pump up for XRP, okay, and we superimpose it to the old fractal from 2017, what we could see here is exactly what XRP Captain is insinuating. And to put things into perspective, how long could this take? Well, the last fractal took about 295 days. That would in fact bring us to April 2024. So definitely not out of the question. We know that the rest of the crypto market will be in a bull rally at that point in time. So he's saying anywhere over and above $120 per XRP. And the top of the fractal would bring us, in fact, to $140.52 per XRP. I'm not going to be holding my breath for these targets, guys, and I'm still diversifying into other coins. I'm really still waiting for XRP to break that resistance to make some proper targets for exit points, and I'm going to be letting all my patrons know about that, guys. If you haven't followed me on Patreon, and that's something you want to do, it's only $5 a month. You will be charged today, and then on the first of each month after that, I'm going to be posting all my trades, including my XRP trades. So we're getting there slowly but surely. Let's keep the momentum rolling. That's just my opinion, but I want to hear what you guys think. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Like the video if you like the content I'm providing. I always love hearing your comments. See you in the next one, guys.